All right. Well, welcome everyone. Everybody have a good summer? Yeah? Good. So you all should have a handout. This is in Canvas, the syllabus, so we're going to go over that today. You should also have, if you take the paperclip off, a sticker badge that you can put that's for I branded Chemistry 108. So the three initials are my initials. Chemistry 108, first year experience, build, belong, become. So this is all about what we're going to try to accomplish this semester. You should also have a note card. This note card will be used to take attendance. You'll get a note card every week. So keep that until the end. About the last 2 or 3 minutes of class, I'll ask you to put your name or your ID number on one side and then address something on the other side. Okay? So there's always a prompt at the end of this class that I ask people to write a little bit about. So you've got that. The other thing before we get too far into it, I want everybody to know that I do record my lectures. My lecture is right now being recorded, and I will post it to my YouTube channel. It will be closed captioned for your convenience, and it will be available in your Canvas shell sometime this evening. So I don't want you all feeling like you need to write down every word I say. I don't want you to feel like you need to focus too much on capturing everything in the slides. I will record everything in the lecture, make that available to you. So just write down the things that are, kind of most important to you, and we will go from there. Okay, does that sound fair? All right, so before we get started in today's stuff, I want to kind of take a moment and introduce myself. I'm Dr. Doug Masterson. I am a professor of chemistry. Organic chemistry is my favorite fun subject. It's what we do research on. It's what I like teaching. I like teaching this as well. But my forte is organic chemistry. You'll learn more about that as you move through your curriculum and other branches of chemistry. I'll tell you a little bit more about me later, but I kind of want to get a name and a face, and I just want everybody to know that I will remember your faces. Those imprint on me very, very well. I will likely forget your name. So I have 2 daughters. One is named Johanna, one is named Brianna, and I get them confused all the time. It's just how I am. And so if you see me on campus and I recognize you and I have to ask again, can you remind me of what your name is? Please don't feel offended by that. I mean no offense. It is just one of my limitations. And so I've introduced my name, and so we'll start right here. Just give me your name and what your major is, and we'll move around the classroom.
My name is Jacob Flynn. My major is ACS Certified Chemistry.
Okay.
My name is Anna, but you can call me Ella, and my major is biochem.
My name is Javon, and my major is chemistry.
I'm Sabal, and my major is chemistry.
My name is Kang, and my major is chemistry.
Can you repeat your name again, please?
Kang.
Okay.
My main name is Izan, and my major is chemistry.
Okay.
I'm Layla, and my major is biochemistry.
Okay.
I'm Destin, and I'm a biochemistry major.
Okay.
My name is May, and I'm a biochemistry.
My name is Brita, and I'm a biochemistry.
My name is Mia, and I'm a biochemistry.
My name is Zaria, I'm a chemistry major.
My name is Royce, and I'm a chemistry major.
Did you say Royce?
Yeah,
Okay.
Royce.
My name is Mary, and I'm a chemistry.
Did you say Mary or Mary?
My name is Paula, and I'm a biochemistry major. My name is Hannah, and I'm a biochem major.
I'm Braden, chemistry.
Anthony, biochem.
Christian, biochem. I'm Tori, chemistry major.
I'm Maggie, I'm biochem.
Repeat that again.
I'm Maggie, I'm biochem. I'm Bailey, I'm a biochem.
Carter, and I'm biochem.
Okay.
My name is Micah, and I'm a
Well, welcome everybody. And I think you want to introduce your name and your major?
I'm Mackenzie. I'm a chemistry major.
Okay, great. Welcome everyone. So we're going to go through some things today. This is a class that I hope at the end of it you take a lot away with you that prepares you for whatever your future endeavors hold. And so to that end, I want you all to know that every assignment that you have in this class is designed with that in mind. I do not assign busy work just to have you all do something. The work that I assign for you all to work on has a, there you go, has a purpose. And that purpose isn't necessarily to learn a lot about chemistry in this class, but to learn how to be a good chemistry or biochemistry major, learn a little bit of the history of chemistry. I think you all need to know a little bit about where this discipline came from and how it came to be, and some of the important things along the way that really changed the way we think about the world. And so to that end, we will have several meetings once a week throughout the semester. If you have not already logged into Canvas, you need to log into Canvas. And when you get there, the first thing you should see is the modules page. Okay? There will be a module for every day. Okay? Notice it's not all populated yet. I don't populate it well in advance because there may be some big news thing that I want to throw in there that has relevance to this class. And so I usually build these shells out by Monday at 5 p.m. the week that we're going to meet. So next week, Monday by 5 p.m., you can go in, look at the shell for the upcoming Wednesday, and everything will be there. There will be a mixture of videos, files for you to read, and most of it I've selected because there's a purpose to it, and not just because it's interesting to me or whatever the case may be. So if you're interested in the syllabus, of course you can find the syllabus on the left-hand tab, and you can see it as a web page. If you want it as a file, you can go to the syllabus module and you can download that as a Word document. And again, it's exactly what you have here in paper. There are some campus activities. We'll talk a little bit more about the campus activities in a moment. But I will throw from time to time things in this that are potential activities that might interest you that you can go and get credit for the activities participation assignments in here. You'll see the introduction video. Some of it, I know from my YouTube counts, many of you have already viewed that. So you can see that there. And then, of course, August 26th, the first day of class. My expectation when you come to class on Wednesday is to have read and viewed everything that I have for you to view so that we can have a conversation, okay? This is a very interactive class. I hope you will participate to the extent practical for us. And so I think it's very, very important that we all keep ahead of what the work is to get the most out of this class. Any questions about the module section before I move on? Okay. The assignment section. Okay, so there are many assignments, right? So today this is the attendance assignment. That's the note card that you'll be turning in at the end of class. All right, I'll go in and put that. You don't have to submit anything. The study tips assignment, which is due by 5 today. All right, you need to go in and do that if you haven't already. I noticed most of you have. The syllabus attestation is also due today. That means that you've read and understood the syllabus. That is not for credit, but that is an attestation that I need you to do. And then you'll have a notebook reflection 1 that will be available to you. You'll have activities. Those are already available, so in case things are going on campus already that you want to attend. And then a one-on-one meeting with me. So it is a requirement that you all schedule a one-on-one with me over in my office. Okay, and so that is already, all of this stuff is already open and available to you. What I will let you also know, for example, Notebook Reflection 1 says it's not available until 3:15 p.m. We get to 3:15, I can open it up. But basically, all of your notebook reflections will be due by 5 p.m. on Friday following class. So you've got some time to think about the material, to really let it soak and steep, if you will, before you compose all of that stuff. Okay, so that is the assignment section of the Canvas shell. If you're interested in your grades, you would go to grades, and you would be able to see how you did on all the different things. Okay, so at any moment you are going to be able to take a look and see. There will be a lot of communication back and forth when you turn things in on Canvas. I will make comments on that. Sometimes it will just be just little notes of encouragement. Maybe it might be little notes of things that I've noticed in what you wrote that I thought were interesting. It may be things that I want you to reply back to. So make sure you read all of those comments. At this point, since it's Wednesday, most of you are probably pretty familiar with how Canvas works, right? All right. So we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on that in particular. So let me go ahead and pull up today's lecture. And we're going to get started here as soon as I can do that. All right. Man, it is hot in here. I'm going to leave it open. Maybe we'll get a little bit of flow through here. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to walk around the class a little bit. Don't mean to scare anybody by that, but I do believe in as much interaction as we possibly can. Again, as I mentioned, I badged it this year. I thought that was kind of a cool idea. I got this idea at a conference I attended this summer where they branded, this one particular faculty member branded all of his classes. I thought, well, that's kind of cool. And so the brand for Chemistry 108 is First Year Experience. Explore chemistry, discover your future, achieve your potential. I fundamentally am a big believer that chemistry and or biochemistry can be a ticket to a number of careers and opportunities for you. Even if your desired career path changes during your 4 years here, you're going to have an opportunity to still remain a chemistry major if you choose to do so and incorporate that into whatever you decide to do. Okay, so we're going to learn a lot about possible career pathways throughout the semester as well. And so, you all are still young. 4 years is a long time for you all. You might think you're going to go to medical school now. You might, shadow a doctor at some point and realize that ain't for you, right? And so there's many, many opportunities in the chemical sciences that I think you all will can use in any kind of career type. And so we'll talk a lot about that throughout the semester. Okay? So, I briefly introduce myself. Again, I'm Dr. Doug Masterson. I'm an organic chemist. My day job is, however, I'm the Senior Associate Provost. How many know what a provost does? You shouldn't know. That's okay. It's an administrative role. If you know what a provost does at this point, there's probably something wrong. But no, I'm not the person that takes care of student issues. That would be the student affairs folks over in the dean of students and all that kind of thing. That is not my role. But I am involved in curricula. I'm involved in the university's accreditation to make sure that you all can get your financial aid and all that kind of stuff that you all rely on. My laboratory is actually on this floor, just down the hallways. But my office is actually in the International Center. You would go to Suite 517, and inside there in 519 is where my office is located. I do have an open door policy. If my door is open and you need to talk to me, all you would do is walk in, you would talk to Mr. Mike Buckley, which you saw where he would be sitting on the video, ask him to see me and come on in. I'm happy to take visitors anytime. And in fact, it's sometimes quite enjoyable to have a break from the conundrum of what we do from time to time. You can call me if you need to talk to me quickly. I'm in and out of the office a lot, so that's probably not the best way to get in touch with me. The best way to get in touch with me would be to email at douglas.masterson@usm.edu, and I will try to respond to you as quickly as I possibly can. You all have already introduced yourselves, and glad to meet every one of you for the first time at least, and hopefully we will continue meeting moving forward. So, let's talk a little bit about the syllabus that you have. So, I am not going today to go through the syllabus word by word by word, okay? We're going to hit the high points, the things that I think are the most important, okay? But the course description from our academic bulletin is an introduction to higher education for students in chemistry and biochemistry, including the use of university resources for academic success, resume development, and career strategies, and more. It really should have said and more, okay? So that is a possibility. So, that's a fairly broad description of what the class is. However, I have a philosophy about Chemistry 108, okay? There is a purpose for why I created this class for you all. Okay, and I've been teaching it since 2017, I think, so almost 9 years, right? So, and my philosophy has changed over time, but this is my most recent philosophy. And you'll notice I wrote it in the first person because it's my philosophy. It's not necessarily your philosophy, but I want you to understand where it's coming from. So I will read this to you all. My goal is not simply to help you complete this class. My goal is to help you build the habits, relationships, confidence, and professional identity that will support your success throughout your undergraduate career and beyond. When you graduate from the University of Southern Mississippi, you will always be a Golden Eagle, and I will always be a resource until the day I die, okay? So if you needed a letter of reference, if you needed help finding whatever, we are here to help you past, completing this class. Every assignment, every discussion, every reflection, and expectation in this course has been intentionally designed to help you invest in your own growth, to help you invest in your own growth. I can't grow you. I can't learn you, right? But I can help create an environment where you will grow as a chemist, a scholar, and a citizen. And I firmly believe that if you fully engage in the opportunities that this course provides, you will leave with far more than the course credit. You will have built a stronger foundation for your journey ahead. I firmly believe this. I eat this for breakfast. I've bought into this. Now my goal is to help you buy into this, okay? And so I believe that this philosophy is the right philosophy for a class like this. This class is not a weed out class. This class is not designed to be hard. I think I've only given 4 Fs in the 9 years that I've taught this class, and the 4 Fs that they didn't turn anything in. I cannot give you credit for what you do not do, okay? That does not mean that there's an A on every assignment, right? But the vast majority of people in this class, if they do the work and they do it with intentionality and seriousness, they leave with an A, okay? So this is not a course that we're not going to do a bunch of math. We're not going to do a bunch of learning the periodic table. You've got other classes for that. But I'm going to help set you up to be a good chemistry major and prepare you for success in either chemistry or biochemistry. And please note that I say chemistry, and I do mean chemistry and biochemistry interchangeably. It's just I identify as a chemist, and so that's how I go. So there's some course objectives that you'll see in the syllabus. Each one of these objectives was designed, again, with intentionality to help you be as successful as possible, okay? The first course objective is that students will understand the impact of chemical sciences on modern society. Why is that important for you all to know? Because you want to be a chemist, okay? For the for being a scholar, yeah, okay.
To understand the use of this course.
Okay. Anything else?
To take part in the lab project, the scientific process.
Okay, scientific process, absolutely. We live in a modern society, and I don't care what anybody else tells you, but there are 3 disciplines, all that are housed in this school, the School of Math and Natural Sciences, that have forged the foundation of our modern society. And I will say chemistry first, physics, and mathematics. Those 3 things together are why we can drive cars, why we have supercomputers, why we have iPhones, why we have television, why we have the medicines that we do, why we have the treatments that we do. All of those things lead up to the other things that we also call sciences, like biology, molecular biology, geology, forensics, whatever. You can name it all. But I think that those 3 disciplines in and of themselves really and truly are the foundation of modern society. So how will we achieve that in this course? We are going to do that by studying current events. There will be things that I get from my trade journals that are general kind of information for the public, we will discuss those during class. We will discuss those in our notebook reflection. So we will, when you all leave, you will have an understanding of the impact the chemical sciences have had on our modern society. Students will understand how learning strategies can be utilized to master course material. Why is that important?
Help us access to the material more easy.
Okay. Anything else?
To help you learn in the most proficient way possible.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else?
So you can learn how to navigate issues on your own.
Ah, very good. One of the big differences between your last day of high school and your first day of college is your high school is extraordinarily structured from whatever time in the morning to whatever time in the afternoon. Even your lunchtime was scheduled probably. Not so in college. You're going to spend less time in class, but expected to learn more. So a lot of that has to come on you. And just a dirty little secret, there is nobody on this college campus. I shouldn't say nobody. There are a few. But in STEM, most of us were never trained how to be a teacher. We're experts in our field, in our area. Some of us happen to be good teachers. Some of us happen to be better teachers. I think all of us are good teachers. But nonetheless, a lot of the learning is going to be on your ability to be able to apply that material. So, how are we going to achieve that in this course? How are you going to understand learning strategies? I'm going to teach you some. Does that mean I'm going to teach you everything or the best way for you? I don't know. Everybody's an individual, right? But as you all read the study tips assignment, I think you were probably seeing that there were some ways in which you could probably improve your study habits, right? And so we're going to learn about learning. How many of you have ever learned about how to learn? Okay, a couple of you. That's good. What do they call that? Metacognition. That is exactly right. We're going to learn about metacognition. It's thinking about thinking, right? And so that sounds a little weird to a lot of people. It sounded weird to me the first time. I'm like, well, I know how to think. I was born to think. Well, yeah, but we don't really study how we think, and we don't as individuals, right? And so we're going to learn a little bit about psychology in here in a way. Although I'm not a psychologist, but we will learn a little bit about it. Students will understand the scope of career options available to individuals with a chemistry degree or biochemistry degree, right? So, just a few of you. What are you hoping to do with your degree when you graduate?
Pharmacy.
Pharmacy?
Cosmetic formulation.
Formulation? Pharmacy?
Dental school.
Pardon?
Dental school.
Dental school?
Med school.
Med school? Anybody thinking about getting a job in the chemistry industry or going to graduate school? Well,
How would you go from chemistry to medicine?
how would you go from chemistry to medicine? Well, you would end up with all of your required courses that you need. You would have organic chemistry, you'd have biochemistry, you would have you would probably need to take some biology in addition, and then you can go to medical school. But we actually have a number of people up here in our department right now, in our school, that study how to make medicines and what those effects are on biological systems. Never went to medical school, okay? So there's nothing special about medical school other than that's what gets you a license to do surgery and prescribe drugs and that kind of thing. But all kinds of scientists participate in the medical field, whether they actually hold a physician's license or not. So we're going to learn about the different types of career options. And there's some traditional career options. I think you all kind of said many of the traditional career paths for people with a chemistry degree. But there are others. I've had many students that worked in my laboratory, graduated with their undergraduate degree, went off and got a job in industry. Some of them ended up working for Georgia Pacific. Some of them ended up working for some small polymer companies and doing quite well. Others have, there's other options as well. I know of people who have gotten their chemistry degree, then went and got a library science degree and became a librarian in a big company where data information kind of sciences was important. They started applying that. They got interested in that kind of thing. Knowing something about science really helped when you're in a pharmaceutical company, helping them find the information that they need to do their research, right? So you'll have many options for that this semester. That's how that's going to be achieved. Students will understand how to utilize university resources to enhance their success. What resources do you have at your disposal right now that you know of?
Like library,
The library?
tutor,
Twitter?
tutor.
Oh, Tutor. I'm sorry. I was like, I don't think Twitter exists anymore. Okay, yeah, Tutor.
Ebook.
Pardon?
Ebook.
Ebook.
Math Center?
Pardon?
Math Center?
The Math Zone. Yeah, Math Center.
The teacher.
The teacher. Yeah, I'm here. I'm one of your resources. But there are many, many other resources on campus. So you all are going to visit with several people across campus throughout the semester. We're going to bring in people from the McNair program if you're interested in getting involved in undergraduate research. We're going to bring in the American Chemical Society student affiliates to get you connected with the student organization. We're going to bring in study abroad. Many of you may be thinking about, hey, I'd like to spend the summer in Germany or in Europe or in England or whatever and study X, Y, or Z. They're going to come in. That's a resource for you to figure out those things, okay? And so we're going to talk about that throughout the semester as well. We'll also bring in like career services. It is not too early to think about your career, right? And I know all of you are thinking, man, it's 4 years before I graduate. It'll be over before you know it, all right? It only seems like a long time because you're young, okay? When you're my age, 4 years goes by in a blink of an eye, I promise, okay?
I
So.
actually spoke to some seniors and I asked them what they would do and they just did not have an answer.
Some seniors said that?
Chemistry?
Some people don't know exactly what they want to do.
I haven't met anyone
Nobody?
who, no.
Well, we got to get you in meeting some other people. And you will meet other people virtually, actually. So one of the things that I do is I also have conversations with former Golden Eagles that I record. So you will actually see some of the interviews that I've done with people who've graduated in this program over the last 10 or 12 years. So there'll be many of those opportunities. And you will find that many of them didn't have a linear career trajectory. Many of them didn't know when they were a sophomore or a freshman what they absolutely wanted to do. But they had that experience and then they went and did this. And before you know it, they had it all figured out. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Okay? There are also first year experience objectives because this is counting as your first year experience course. Students will demonstrate the application of real world life skills, interacting with each other, working on projects together, writing small things, writing succinctly. You know, one of the big things in high school and in college is, hey, write that 10-page paper, write that 20-page paper. You know what? That's not how the real world mostly works. It's usually quick, succinct writing, very, very, like a page or less. We're going to focus on that in this class. All of your notebook reflections will be much shorter than a typical term paper. Okay? You'll just write more of them. So that's how we'll achieve some of that in this class. And again, like I said, effective written communications and verbal communication skills. So getting comfortable talking with people in authority. It's one of the reasons why I'm having you come to my office. I want you to break the ice about going and seeing a professor in their office. Most students, one of the resources that you have is office hours. It is also the most underutilized resource on campus. All faculty who teach classes are required to host at least one office hour a week. Okay? Now you may go, well, that office hour doesn't fit my schedule. Well, just reach out to your faculty member and say, can I schedule for a different time? Okay? Most will say absolutely. Okay? So those are the things that we got to do for our first year experience objectives. All right. You will also produce some things during the semester. You are going to produce a curriculum vitae or a resume. How many already have a resume? Okay, that's a good place to start. We're going to talk about how to develop a professional resume. One of the things in, at least in higher education, when you're going to get scholarships, when you're going to try to go to medical school or dental school, sometimes students try to get cutesy with their resumes. and that is for professionals, one of the things that we're not asking you to be graphic artists. We want to know what we need to know. We don't want to be distracted. We want to, so we're going to talk about what to include and what not to include in this type of document. This will be a living document for you. It will change constantly. Right? Starting now, when you build your CV or resume, you will include things from your high school experiences, your early college experiences. If you look at my resume today, none of that stuff exists on my resume anymore. It has long since expired. And yes, I'm proud of those things, but if I was to go look for another job, they wouldn't care anything about the clubs I was in when I was in high school, right? I graduated in 1990, so not going to be interested in that anymore. You're going to build an individualized semester by semester guide. Yes, we have a bulletin that shows you all the courses that you need to take, but this is a structured curriculum. You got to take some classes before you take other classes. And you have individual obligations. Some of you may work, some of you may have family obligations. You may not be able to take that class in that semester because you know that whatever has to be done that semester at your job or with your family, right? And so you need to build this in that fits what you're looking for, so that when you go and talk to your advisor, you all have a common template to work from that you can then alter and change as you need. It too will be a living document. You will try to figure out what you want to do. Maybe you're taking an elective and all of a sudden that elective's not offered for whatever reason. Well, that means you're going to have to redo your semester guide, right? If you want to take that elective again, or maybe you pick a different elective, right? But it's a tool for you to use. You're going to develop an inventory of personalized learning strategies. We're going to talk about learning a lot in this class. You are going to develop your own learning inventory, okay? What is it that will work best for you? I can guarantee you a couple of things. What you think worked for you when you were in high school will not work for you in college, as a general rule, okay? How many of you didn't really have to study in high school? Yep, that's what I thought, right? How many of you, when you were in high school, right, you had time to do your work in class? Yep, that ain't gonna happen here, right? So your study habits and the way you manage your time and all of that stuff is going to be different, and how you learn is going to be different, okay? And then we're gonna talk about a professional web presence. I am so glad I was not born when you all were born. The crap I did when I was younger, if that had been out on social media, oh my goodness. But guess what? Everybody thinks that stuff is protected. It ain't. Just isn't, right? You are starting, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Today is the first day of the rest of your career. You are starting your career today, as far as I'm concerned, okay? I'm not saying you can't post things that are fun. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you need to start thinking about what you post. Because when you apply for a scholarship, when you apply to go to medical school, they will look on anything that is publicly available and say, does this person represent the kind of values that we hold as an institution or as a company? Because if you put it out there free for everybody to look at, it is legal to look at, okay? So keep that in mind. I did not assign this go around, but there is this nice little piece from about 6 years ago. Hope is not a plan. How many people have hopes and dreams? We all do, right? Hopes and dreams won't get you there. Just won't. You got to have a plan. And that plan has to include some mechanism by which you change course as things happen in life. Life does happen, right? And if you plan for it, you will be better off than if you don't, okay? Everybody hears about the person who just accidentally fell into $1 billion, right? Or whatever. That's rare. Most people attain what they want because they planned and worked and strived and sacrificed to achieve it, okay? And it doesn't matter whether you're a chemistry major, an art major, a dance major, a polymer science major, hope is not a plan. Hope is great. We've got to have hope. I'm not trying to belittle hope. I hope a lot of things. but I plan for what I really, really want, okay? If you hope, you should plan. If you don't plan for it, it's just a statement, okay? All right, the fun stuff. Grading. Attendance is worth 260 points. We will actually meet 14 times this semester. Notice I'm giving you credit for 13 of them at 20 points each. What does that mean?
One absence.
That means you can miss one without asking me anything. I don't need an excuse. I don't need anything. You miss one, you miss one. We'll miss one every now and then, right? You're going to get 20 points each for those, and that's what those little note cards are about, okay? If you miss class, however, for whatever reason, the notebook reflection that's due on Friday is still due on Friday, and you can still do it. Okay, so if you say, well, I missed Wednesday, and so I didn't think I had to turn in the stuff, I thought it was, the assignments aren't excused, just the thing. So I'm only going to count 13 of those points, okay? Or 13 of those attendances, 20 points each. Notebook reflections, those are worth 200 points. We're going to have about 15 of them at 13 and a little more points each. You're going to have a CV resume assignment. We're going to build a CV resume. That's going to be worth 100 points. You're going to have that semester by semester guide assignment. It's going to be worth 100 points. You're going to have activities participation. That's going to be worth a total of 100 points. You got 2 activities you got to go to. Okay? You get to choose a lot on what those activities are, but you get 2 of them, 50 points apiece. They add up to 100. The study tips assignment, which you've already been given, right? That's 25 points. Your learning strategies assignment is going to be worth 50 points. The class is worth a total of 860 points. Okay? So what you got to do is get the most of those 860 points as you possibly can to get an A in the class. Okay? Pretty straightforward. All right. I also have an attendance philosophy. It's been said over and over again by many, many people, and I don't know who to actually attribute the real quote to. But 90% of life is showing up. If you don't show up, you ain't gonna get it. I can promise you that, okay? So, this is my attendance philosophy. I believe fundamentally that learning is an active process that is strengthened through meaningful participation, discussion, and engagement with your peers and myself. If one of you asks a question and I provide an answer, that is participation by all. You all learned a little something. Okay? And so, but you're not going to get that well if you're not here. Yes, I record. Yes, you could go back and watch. But guess what? You didn't get an opportunity to do. You didn't get an opportunity to follow up. You didn't get an opportunity to participate. Okay? So very, very important. While attendance alone does not guarantee learning, you can show up and not learn anything. I readily admit that. Okay? I believe that consistently being present creates opportunities for you to ask questions, exchange ideas, forge lifelong connections, and develop the habits that contribute to long-term academic and professional success. For this reason, attendance is valued not as an end in itself, but as an important contributor to your growth as a future chemist and citizen. Engagement in this course is documented through a brief in-class reflection. We talked about the note cards completed at the end of each class. It emphasizes that attendance in this course is measured through thoughtful participation, not simply occupying a seat in the classroom. So when I ask you to fill out that note card, I'm going to look to see if you gave it a legitimate, genuine response into whatever I'm asking about. Okay? If that happens, you get the full 20 points. Any questions about any of that before I move on? No? Okay. All right. So, if you look in the dictionary, this is online from Merriam-Webster's Webster's dictionary. I could use any of them. Tell me what you see there on the word learning. What kind of word is it? It says it's a noun. What, you were saying something before I cut you off, I'm sorry.
I was just reading the definition.
Okay. What one sticks out to you?
The knowledge or skill acquired by instruction or study.
Okay. Notice that was number 2 though on the list. That's kind of odd. You might think that might be number 1, right? What does learning mean to each and every one of you? How many of you like to learn? What do you like to learn about? In general, I don't need to know exact things.
Something that will make my horizon broader. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we tend to like to learn about things that interest us, right? What does that mean? What does it mean to be interested in something?
Be curious about it.
You're curious about it. You have a lot of questions, right? Notice what I just said. Curiosity and questions, right? Many of you think that learning is about me putting things in your mind that you can regurgitate. I don't believe that. Today we have access to things on our phones and things that we've never had. We have access to so much information. I don't need to store it all up here anymore. Okay? That's not a measure of an educated person anymore, that they can spout off a bunch of things on Jeopardy. Okay? That's cool, right? But I'm not here to know how good your memory is. Your memory is largely something that you're born with, as far as I can tell, right? But what you do with that. And so actually, I don't think learning is a noun. I think it's a verb. So, how can we make learning a verb? A noun is a person, place, or thing. It's saying learning is a thing in the dictionary. I think it's wrong. I think learning is a process. It's a verb. So how do we make learning a verb?
You ask questions.
You ask questions, right? What else?
Have to give it effort.
Have to give some effort. Okay.
Be passionate about it, I guess.
Be passionate about it. Okay, I can understand that. There are things that I am passionate about and I learn quite a bit about, but I never really majored in it or studied in it. We have many, many passions. People typically have more than one passion. But I hope you have at least some level of passion for the area you're studying, or it's going to be a boring 4 years, right?
Well, if it's a verb, then you have to like do it. So there's some like intentionality that has to go with it.
Okay, intentionality in doing it, absolutely. What else?
Experiment with waking out.
Pardon?
Experiment with waking
Experiment, yeah. That's one of the things that we do. Have you all had, any of you had your Chemistry 106 lab yet, or any lab yet this semester? Okay, so a couple of you have had lab. Do we go in the lab and everybody just get lectured at? No, we actually do something, don't we? We get glassware out, we make measurements, and we see how colors change, and we see how things heat up, and we see how things boil over, and we see all kinds of physical properties, right? We are in the lab doing, right? You are in a verb discipline, okay? And so there are many ways that we can make learning a verb, and I want you to think about that. Don't be passive with your learning, okay? Hearing me talk is only part of it, right? Being able to regurgitate what I've told you is only one part of it. You all should question what I tell you. You should grapple with what I tell you. We're going to learn about the scientific method. One of the things I know about the scientific method that I'm absolutely confident in is that it is the best baloney detector humankind has ever created. It is. But it requires us to be active participants in our learning. It requires us to make learning a verb. It requires us to question. My oldest daughter is doing her postdoctoral work. She's a chemist as well. And she called the other night all frustrated, and she was like, I don't know what's going on with this, blah, 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 blah. And I said, you've got 10 questions that you've just asked me. That's the important part. You're asking the questions. It's not always about the answers. The problem that we have in higher education today, and I'll just admit it, and in high school, is you all go in expecting to just answer questions and provide answers. You will be employed not to answer questions, but to come up with questions. Billion-dollar industries are not built on answers. They are built on questions. How can I build a better car? How can I get to Mars? How can I make a computer that does X? How can I cure that cancer? It starts with the questions. And I wish we had a class that was how to ask good scientific questions. And this is as close as I can get to it for you. All of your other classes will be about let's learn some knowledge and let's see if you can replicate the knowledge that I've given you. But I want you to leave at the end of 4 years. Everybody has to do some research in these majors. I want you to leave asking great questions, because if you can leave asking great questions, you will do great things. I firmly believe that. But again, it requires us to make learning a verb. So have I convinced anybody that it really should be a verb and not a noun? All right. But it is a verb in my definition. All right. So in the syllabus that you all have, and it's online, you know what we're going to do, more or less, every time we're going to meet. There's the dates. There's the things. Right? If it says like parentheses September 30th, that means go to module September 30th. You'll do that on Monday after 5 o'clock, and you'll see all the things we're going to do for the upcoming Wednesday for that September 30th date. Right? But I just, a couple of things here, right? Today, your study tips assignments due. First day of class meets. I already gave you that information. The 31st is the last day to drop without academic penalty. I hope none of you drop this class. Hope you all stick with me, okay? But I also put in some dates in here about when the university is closed, etc. September 7th, Labor Day holiday. University is closed. We will still have class on Wednesday of Labor Day. Okay, very, very important. Also, I want you to think about fall break. If you look there on October the 8th, it says fall break begins. Fall break begins on October the 8th, which is a Thursday. What day do we come to class?
Wednesday.
We come to class on Wednesdays. Does fall break start on Wednesday?
No.
So will we have class? Yes, we will. Will I expect you to be here? Yes, I will. Can it be your freebie? If you want it to be. It could be. But we will be holding class. So keep that in mind. You see in the list that we have some things on financial wellness. The activities participations due, all that kind of stuff is there. So read through the syllabus if you haven't already. I call these notebook reflections now. I put notebook in. When I first started this class, I actually required students to buy a physical notebook and they would write in the notebook. We don't do that anymore. COVID happened and handing back and forth papers just was not going to be a thing I could do anymore, and this just kind of stuck. So we do these in Canvas now. These are really more of a self-reflection document, and it is there to encourage metacognition. So how do you think about things? Many times, most times actually, there is not a right or wrong answer. But there is an authentic versus non-authentic answer. I don't want to hear what you think I want to hear. I want to hear what you have to say about the topic, what I prompted you to say. Say it professionally. Back it up if you have to. Right? We're all individuals. We all have our own perspectives on things. I will respond to them. Right? If I think there's something that concerns me about your response, I'll respond to you and say, I think we can work on that particular thing that's frustrating you, or whatever the case may be. Right? So, self-reflection, I'm a big believer in it. Okay? So, there's some rules to this notebook. You'll receive notebook prompts and Canvas assignments. All right, that has already launched in Canvas. It will be due on Friday at 5 p.m. There will approximately be one notebook assignment per week. I said we're meeting 14 times, but there are 15 assignments. There will be a week where I have a couple or maybe an extra notebook prompt. Okay? I use that at my discretion. You need to write clearly. Okay? Your grade does depend on it. Do not use artificial intelligence to generate your ideas or your thoughts. But you can use Grammarly, spell checkers, and yes, AI, to check for grammar and clarity. I'm fine with that. But I want you to have ownership of your reflection. These aren't that long. It actually takes you longer to prompt AI to generate something that sounds right than it does to just do it. If you have a few spelling mistakes, I'm not going to count off. This isn't a writing intensive class. Okay? I'm looking for your thoughts. Okay? Careful thought and consideration. There are never yes, no answer or questions in this class. If I say, do you like X? And you say yes, that is not a complete answer. Okay? It may sound like a yes or no answer or question, but there are no yes or no questions in this class. Okay? So each reflection, each prompt, you're looking at about what I'm expecting, about a quarter of a typewritten page. That's about 150 to 160 words. It doesn't take a long time to type out 150 words. Okay? Not long at all. That's what I'm looking for. Am I going to count each and every word? No. But if you give me a 4-word response to a question, I'm probably going to take off a little credit. That's not an authentic reply. Don't go crazy either. Don't make me read a book. Okay, kind of keep it in that realm. Any questions about that? No? Good. So today you had some readings and some viewings. We've got a little bit of time left. So what was the take-home message that y'all want to share from the study tips in chemistry, that essay from Professor Libirko? If you had to sum it up into a sentence, what would you say?
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Have good study habits.
Have good study habits. I'm not asking anybody to raise hands, but just to think about it, how many of you think you have good study habits? To this day, I'm 54 years old, I still don't think I have the best study habits. My mind wanders a lot. I've had to learn to control that, to focus. That's my story. Okay? What else?
That good studying isn't based off just doing one method of study.
Okay, very good. Do you think that your study habits are going to be the same for every class? No. Your English class is going to require different habits than your chemistry class, than your math class. Okay, and you're going to shift and move them around. But I think you'll find that nonetheless you need some good study habits, right? What about the take-home message from the growth mindset video that y'all watched? Anybody ever heard of the term growth mindset before? Okay. What do you think about it? Is it hooey? I've had some people say, I think that's junk.
I guess that to be willing to change, that's the message I think it gives.
Yeah. The way that I like to think about it is, there's one thing that I have control over at all times. That's me. Within some lists. I mean, I guess I could be incarcerated or arrested or whatever, right? But I mean, in general, I have control over me. I don't necessarily have control over what my boss does, or what the state does, or what the driver behind me does, but I have control over what I can do, right? I know that if I have a positive mindset about the fact that I can change, then I can at least move forward. I may want to be at the top of Mount Everest. I may not actually get there, but I might get to, one of those bases, and at least I got somewhere better than where I was at, right? So I do believe in a growth mindset. I believe in the power of not yet. If you say, I can't do that, then just add to it, not yet. Can you be better at math? Absolutely you can be better at math. Can you be better at chemistry? Absolutely you can be better at chemistry. Can you be better at sports and athletics? Absolutely you can be better. Will you be necessarily an NFL pro football player? Probably not. But you can't get there if you don't think you can, right? So you gotta kind of keep that in mind. What was the take-home message from the science literacy video?
You won't understand science if you don't do it.
Okay, fair enough.
Doing science.
Pardon?
Just
Okay.
thinking of that.
Okay.
Understanding science helps you understand other things in society.
Mhm. You all are very much so scientists at this point. You were born scientists. We're all born scientists. We're all curious. Right? How many of you watched something on TV and you went, where did they come up with that junk? Right? You've all seen that, right? Or, wait, I know that's not true. Right? It's because we have, in part, not completely, but in part, we have a low level of scientific literacy in this country. In many countries.
In the world.
In the world. Because we find something that fits with what we want to believe about the world and we grab onto that, right? Science, that's not how science works. Science is like coming from Missouri. It's the show me state. You gotta show me, right? Prove it. Show it. Demonstrate it. We're gonna learn about the scientific method. It's one of the great tragedies, I guess, if you will, of modern society. We're so dependent on science, and yet so many people don't completely understand the scientific method. And again, the scientific method is the best baloney detector we've ever developed. It gives you a limited number of steps. It's easy to do to show whether or not something is likely to be true. But I will tell you this, knowing something is extraordinarily difficult. To absolutely know something is difficult. What we know in science today may change tomorrow as we learn more. That's the scientific method. And I want everybody to completely understand that. Okay? All right. So, on your note cards, we're at the end of our first class. On one side, it doesn't matter what side to me, you put your ID number and you print. Please print so that I can read your name, full name, first name and last name. And on the back, tell me something about yourself that you want me to know about you.